Hey guys, Pro1701 here, and today we are going to be ranking Doctor Who stories that have Leela as the companion. So we're going to be looking at stories from the 4th Doctor, from part of Season 14 and Season 15. Quick note, I will not have Invisible Enemy in this list as I have not seen Invisible Enemy. It's one of the 3 Baker stories I haven't seen. So it won't be on this list, but we have 8 more stories to look at. I do want to start off by saying I like Leela a lot. I'm a big fan of Leela. She's pretty high up on my companion list. I think Louise Jameson did a really good job with her, and I enjoy watching her stories. And I'm going to be, again, kind of just ranking the stories by the stories, not necessarily by how good or bad Leela is, and which Leela's always good in. But I'm going to be going by the stories themselves. And in the bottom at 8th place, I have The Invasion of Time. Let me start off by saying The Invasion of Time is perfectly watchable. It's not a bad story. It's just kind of one of those. The script seemed kind of rushed, and the budget had clearly ran out. The effects of the original group of aliens that invade is awful. It's just like, oh, you've seen it if you're watching this video. It's awful. The special edition of it looks better. I haven't seen the full special edition story, but I have seen the effects on YouTube, and the special edition version of them look way better. I've only seen the original version of the story, and they look crap. I do like how right when the Doctor thinks he's solved everything, the Sontarans show up, because the Sontarans were actually a threat back in Classic Who. They even invaded Gallifrey. I like seeing Barusa again, because I like Barusa. So it's nice having him back yet again, and seeing he's not necessarily thrilled with the Doctor running things. Tom puts in a good performance here. Part of the biggest problems with this is the TARDIS interior scenes toward the end, which are very obviously not really TARDIS interior scenes. You know what I mean if you've seen it. It just, the inside of a TARDIS doesn't look like that. It's obviously, again, the money had obviously ran out by this point, and they were just having to film it wherever. And that kind of pulls me out of the story. And then Leela's departure is awful. I mean, the way she leaves it doesn't make sense. You know, with her forming a bond with the Gallifreyan officer doesn't, because even though they get to spend some time together, you never get this sense of they're getting closer. So it just feels so out of place and rushed, which is what it was. That I don't really care for that either. So perfectly watchable, but not really that great in my opinion. Number 7 is Underworld. I like Underworld more so than most, although I do need to rewatch it. I've only watched it once, but I really enjoyed it. I know the CSO is really bad. Maybe it'll be the one that they give the upgraded effects treatment on whenever season 15 comes out. But the actual script I enjoy, and the model work. I actually think the work with the spaceship models and stuff is pretty good, like Classic Who good. You know, I actually enjoy that. I can't fault that. I definitely enjoy the story more than most, but again, Leela has a lot of good stories, so it's why it's on the bottom of the list. Number 6 is Image of the Thefinn Doll. This is one that's a really good story. The execution's a little lacking. Not even much. I've mentioned before, I have a little problem with the Findle creature once it fully converts with the gold paint and the painted on eyes. I feel like I'm watching the video to the original version of Zombie, or I guess the remake of Zombie, actually, with the gold paint and stuff, except for at least she was using her real eyes in the video. You know, those painted on eyes kind of take me out of it, much like in The Keeper of Traken, whenever the redhead uses the laser blast, and it's obviously the painted on eyes. I don't like those painted on eyes. And then the creature behind her, it doesn't really work for me either. Story-wise, though, it's great. I actually like the story. Again, it's just kind of that execution at the end that pulls it down a little. The story's really good. Number 5 is Robots of Death. I know this one is a little lower than a lot of people would place it. I like the execution here. I think the story is a little overrated in places. I want to say a little lacking, but it's really not. It's a good story. It's a great Agatha Christie-style murder mystery. I love the production design of it. I could do a whole video of that, and probably will at some point. But I love how well the robots are designed. I love the way the ship is designed. It has great production values, and it holds up really well because of that. The script, to me, is just not quite as good as a lot of people make it out to be. It's still good. Still good. I love this story. It's just not like top 10 classic Who stories ever, like some people seem to rate it. To me. Number 4 is the Sunmakers. I've talked before about how much I love the Sunmakers. I love me some Bob Holmes. Bob Holmes is obviously pissed off at his tax man at this point. And it really is. That's what it is. It's a satire about taxes. It's taxes taken to the extreme. Which is why I think in the story, one of the tax guys in it's a bit hammy. He acts it a bit hammy because it is a farce. I mean, the whole story is kind of a farce in a way. It's a satirical farce. So I don't mind him being hammy just because that's the way I interpret the story. I've also read the Target novelization of this as well. That was my first experience with the story. Well, it's been so long, I remember more of the TV episode than I do the novel. But Tom and Leela are both great in this too. Tom, again, even stories people don't care for, Tom can really elevate it. So if you're not a fan of the Sunmakers story-wise, you can still appreciate Tom in it. I actually happen to like the story too, and I think I like this one more than most people. Number 3 is The Face of Evil. This one to me is very underrated. I love The Face of Evil. I think it's realized pretty well. I don't actually like the face in the mountain. That's very obviously a model shot, which I don't care for. I kind of wish that had looked a little more grandiose, so to say. But the actual story I really, really like. I love everything going on there. It's a great introduction story for Leela. She has some really good lines in it. Luis does a good job with her here. Tom just seems like he's having a ball in this story. He's really, really good here, which is odd because apparently him and Luis, it took him a minute to warm up to Luis, but I mean, the Fourth Doctor and Leela at least have good chemistry on the story. It looks like in the story, and Tom has some really good wit here. It's probably my favorite. Would you like a jelly baby? It's from this story. Also like that now. I'll kill him with this deadly jelly baby. I love that. That was either a really good shot or a really bad. He has a lot of lines I really like. I enjoy The Face of Evil. I don't think it gets enough love. Number 2 is The Horror of Fang Rock, my favorite season 15 story, which I'm currently rewatching. And it's taking me way longer to get through than it should because I have a patron review I've got to get done of it soon. I'm blaming Mass Effect on that, Ham. Mass Effect's one of those games where you just... I'm playing the Legendary Edition, so I'm going through all 3 games, and I'm like, well, I'll play for an hour or 2, and the next thing I know it's 3 in the morning. That's Mass Effect. So it's taken me a while to get other stuff taken care of, but I love The Horror of Fang Rock. It's such a good story. Really tight script, fills out its 4 parts really well, like the guest cast in it. And of course Tom's great in it as well. It's nice to actually see one of the Rutons, since we've known they're a huge enemy of the Sontarans. That's been mentioned before, so it's nice to actually see one of them. And I like the fact it's not a humanoid alien. I like the fact that it's a totally different type of alien. I wouldn't mind this one if they don't do the special effects upgrade to Underworld. I'd love for Horror of Fang Rock to get the special effects upgrade for season 15. That way the actual execution of the story, which is pretty good anyway, could really match the actual script of the story. Although, again, Horror of Fang Rock pulls off his execution pretty well to begin with. Really, really strong, good, spooky, suspenseful story. I really like it. Love the atmosphere of it. It has a really good atmosphere, especially the shots when they're outside, the filming when they're outside. Really, really good stuff. And number 1 is Talons of Wing Chiang, which is just perfection. It's so good. Again, Tom Baker and Leela in this are really good. The guy playing Chang in it is really, really good. I really like, Mr. Was it? Yeah, Chang. I think that was it. Chang. He's really, really good. Even if it wouldn't be politically correct by today's standards, I think the way the character is written and the way the actor performs the character are both done in a very respectful manner. I personally don't have any issues with the story. I love the actual Wing Chiang, Grell, Marcus Grell, was that his name? I really like him. I like the idea behind him. I like his backstory. I love the makeup. The makeup that's done for him. The one time you actually really get a glimpse of his face is really impressive, especially for Classic Who standards. But I think that holds up really well even today. And the voice used for him is done really, really well. It's a good story. There's a reason why Talons has the one of the best Doctor Who ever story reputations that it has. It has it for good reason. Plus, I like Tom's little Sherlock Holmes outfit he wears. Talons is a good story. If there's any of these on the list that you haven't seen, If you haven't seen any of these on the list, I should say, you need to see that one. That would be the one I'd point to and go watch that. That's Doctor Who. That's the reason. Stories like Talons is the reason why Doctor Who has endured for as long as it has. It's just, again, it's a Bob Holmes script. And Bob Holmes, when he is on his A game, there's nobody better. So that has been my list of Leela stories. I'm curious, how would you rank Leela's stories if you were ranking them? And what do you think of my list? Comment down below. I always enjoy interacting with you guys and finding out what you think about everything. Other things to do, click the like button, click the subscribe button, click the bell for notifications so you never miss out on a new video. I do a new video every day. I've also started a Patreon page and have a few patrons on that. There's a link to that down in the description below. If you have a few seconds and just want to check it out, my entry-level tier is only $2 a month. So for just $2 a month, you can help support someone hopefully you enjoy watching on YouTube. I certainly appreciate it. There are other tiers that get you things like video request, behind-the-scenes videos, blooper videos, alternate take videos, shelved ideas that I might try to redo later videos, stuff like that, polls to vote in. I have 2 active polls going right now at the time I am recording this. And anyone who joins at any tier level gets a free video request. So check that out. Most importantly, though, stay safe out there. And thank you for watching.